Hello there and welcome back to my channel. So back in October I've done all my book reviews. I've got one more to do, so there's going to be one that's going to go over onto the other page. So I've put a quote on the other page. I haven't got the sticker for that one, so that's why that page is being left blank at the moment. And then it's back round to stats again. So welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name's Vicky and I do a lot of reading journals and just normal journaling videos. So at the moment I'm getting into my reading stats. If you liked what you're seeing, then please like, subscribe, do all those YouTubey things. It's so lovely to have you here, whether you're new or whether you're returning. So what I've done at the moment is I have just put my October header on there. And what I tend to do, I'm trying to do this freehand now because I have a plan that's just out of shot. So I hope that means there's a lot less rubbing out. So on one side I tend to put what I've read, and then I have my favourite, least favourite on the right hand side of that page. The interesting thing about favourite, least favourite this month is that I couldn't choose a least favourite, so we only have a favourite. Oh no, made a mistake. So we're going to pull off least favourite and we're going to put it a bit lower so that we can fit the favourite book in, which was Pretend You're Mine. It was a very close call. If I could have had two favourites, I would have had that and Powerless, because they were both absolutely amazing, but both very different as well. I think I liked that because it was Pretend You're Mine. It was fluff that I liked, so therefore it's like an easy read that I can really get into, because I found more fluffier books harder in the last little while. So back to this. So on the read list, I've not read as much this month as I hoped I would, but I've still done more reading than I was doing in January, so it's all doing what it needs to be doing. So what I'm doing is I'm just writing a list down the left hand side of what I've read, and then we'll get down to the actual stats. So I'm hoping that once I start Christmas Bookopoly in November, I will get a lot more read, or at least I'll get a few more things off my read and get rid of pile, and hopefully some of my Kindle stuff that's Christmassy will get read. So that's all very exciting, but that's coming up. So I got my spirograph circles out again. I just find that circle is just the right size, and it saves me having to get a compass out, which is much easier when you're trying to line them up and get them straight and everything like that, especially when I'm doing it freehand. But we'll see how it turns out at the other end. So I found this new way of doing my reading journal was really keeping me on track, just purely because as we're going along with the dashboard pages that are done at the beginning of the month, I can literally tick off and colour in as I read books. And if I decide to deviate from the what I decided to read at the beginning of the month, it doesn't matter because I can add them to the list. So therefore it doesn't feel like a failure when I deviate. It just feels like, oh, I've deviated, I'm going to read this. If it's in somewhere, pop it on the list. It's just a little bit less stressful. But it's also making sure that I do keep on track and do read the ones like library books that have got reservations on that need to go back. So it's all a very fine balance, but I'm finding that the balance is easier to keep hold of when I'm keeping track of it. And it means that I'm doing more journaling, which I like to do a little bit every day, just because it makes me feel calmer. And it's nice to do book-related as well as life-related journaling. So on the right-hand side, this is where I tend to put my stats. So books bought, so there's going to be another bubble underneath that will tell you how many books I bought, and then I'm going to list them. Yeah, I think Amazon Kindle monthly deals got me this month. There was quite a lot that I actually quite liked on that list, which is quite rare, so I just went and got all of them. This grid underneath is where I'm showing how much I've saved. So that would be if I had bought these books rather than borrowing them. So whether that be from Everend or from a library, I can see how much I've saved by borrowing them rather than buying them. And also space-wise, I'd never have space for everything that I read. And another bubble at the end for the total, because, well, why not? And then we get the proper stats. So the proper stats is where you get pie charts. month 2 of pie charts, and they're still a little bit haphazard, but slowly getting better as I'm still in my learning pit. And while I'm there, I'm just going to enjoy it and learn and get better at it as time goes on. Because at the end of the day, we've all got to learn, and sometimes it's a case of just being a little bit non-pressured on yourself while you learn how to do things that you will ultimately decide that you enjoy. I mean, I like looking back at my stats and go, oh, it was 50% children's and like 50% adults and this many young adult books, and this is how much I've saved. And I found that that's actually kept me really, I mean, I didn't need a lot of push to keep me reading, but it's really interesting to see how much you would have saved. And I'll be really interested to see what happens when I get to the end of the year and see how much I've saved across the year just by borrowing books rather than buying them. I mean, to be brutally honest, I'm just looking over at my bookshelf thinking, I've got nowhere to store them. I'm also trying to get my read and get rid of pile down, because some of those have been on there for so long now that it's just a case of they just need to be read and they just need to go. And then I'll have space for other books that people may give me, or things that I find in like library book sales or charity shops. But most of the time I do borrow books. But, you know, you never know what the future holds. So now I'm going to start my list of how much I've saved. So I put the title in one column and the cost of the book in the other. So it's quite a short list this month. I mean, last month I literally saved just over £100 by borrowing rather than buying. I don't think it's going to be as high this month, but then I read half as many books. But you know, at the end of the day, reading is still reading, whether it's like 2 books or whether it's 20. So you know, it's all good stuff at the end of the day. But I'm going to quickly go through that list. I'm still on those Heartstopper books. Part of me wants to drag them out because I don't want it to end, even though there's no one more book to come. But part of me wants to read them so I can watch a TV series. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I might need to just quickly whip them through just so that I can then watch the TV series, because my friends at work keep telling me all about the TV series and I'm getting more and more excited as time goes on. So I think I might just have to just bite the bullet, wait for the 6th book when it gets here, and then read the 5 and watch the TV programme. So on this list, I've also started reading Babysitter's Club books. That's mainly because I'm trying to get rid of them. So there's a few that I want to read, a few of the ones that I got from America that I really want to read. But other than that, the rest are just going off to Ziffit. So that'll be another video for another day once I've got through those. So I bought 7 books this month. I've also read 7 books, of which 6 were borrowed and 1 was owned and came off my shelf. So not quite as good as last month, but you know, we're slowly winning. So you can see I'm getting much quicker at the pie charts now. So we asked, the learning zone is clearly working. And then it's literally just a case of colouring them in. And I tend to have a three colour scheme for every spread. So at least then it all matches quite nicely. And I'm also at this point waiting for the pens to dry before I write over them, because I found last month that it just made everything. It just ruined it because it didn't highlight very well. So what I've done is I've done the strips of colour, and now I'm going to fill them in because they've been drying for a little while now. So I've done books to audiobooks. I didn't read any ebooks this month, so that's why that's not on the list. And then this is the adult, young adult, children's pile. So, and that was a fairly interesting split. But mainly the children's books I'm reading at the moment are the Babysitter's Club ones that I literally am just getting ready to go. And then there's one less box in my haul.